Hello, you are listening to the Childcare Directors Chair Podcast. Your host, Erica Saccoccio, invites you to join her community of passionate and inspiring leaders in the ECE field, where she discusses, reflects, and shares the best ways to invest in our children, families, teachers, and community. Because after all, we know they are the heartbeat of any successful program.
Hey, welcome to the Childcare Directors Chair Podcast. I would like to say thank you so much for hitting that play button. It means so much. If this is your first time tuning in, I'd like to say welcome. If you are one of our loyal listeners, you already know what I'm going to say. I love you and thank you so much for tuning in every day. I wanted to do a few Ask the Expert questions. So we've gotten some questions in our Facebook group over the last few weeks. Some are inbox, some are in our group page, but I thought we would do some questions from you guys instead of me always just kind of giving you tips and strategies. I thought, again, as we like to either discuss, reflect, or learn on this channel, I thought today I would do some reflection and answer some questions and give you the best of what I got. So without further ado, I have a question that came from Arizona. And the question was, what strategies have you found most effective for recruiting, training, and retaining qualified staff members in a competitive childcare market? So the first thing I'm going to say is it is a new challenge for me because I have had the same team for years, and I mean like years and years. And I mean, I know many childcare centers have had problems with turnover in the past. That really wasn't a challenge that I had ever faced until the pandemic. And so two things happened. Being with a group of people for a really long time was certainly a privilege. And some of the folks were a little bit older than me, and so they retired due to age. So it wasn't that everybody left the field. It was some folks just, if they're on the older end, it was kind of when they said, you know what, this seems like a good time to exit. So that was probably more of what I was dealing with than turnaround so much per se. And I would say when, like most programs, when the federal money of if you weren't working, you could stay home, we'll still pay you. Then the stipends, you could stay home, all of that. We definitely found that then when we were going to replace folks who were retiring from our school, we had a little bit of a challenge. But I would say the most effective ways that we found recruiting staff would be word of mouth. Other teachers referring friends or family members. That definitely helped. For a while, we used Indeed, and we were using it before it cost a ton of money to sponsor something. So that became very expensive as people started really looking for employees and there was a shortage. And then, every application was like $30, $40. I had some struggles with figuring out how to turn that thing off, or you would get 50 applications overnight and, way over budget and all of that. But that's a whole nother thing. But I would say a lot of what we got through Indeed through the pandemic wasn't really great. I would say that has changed. So I'm happy to report. I don't know about the rest of you. I don't know if it's seasonal, but I have not had a problem finding qualified staff in the last 6 to 8 months. Prior to that, I would say I had challenges like everyone else. But the last 6 to 8 months, I definitely see a turnaround. So I think what could be a part of it, putting money aside, as people have left the field of early childhood education, most of us know that it is a calling. And so folks may have left the field for higher paying jobs. Maybe they were driving trucks for Amazon, delivering packages, or, working at, the local Target or, store like that, where they were, paying pretty good wages. If this is your calling, you're going to be called back. So maybe those jobs were not as fulfilling or the grass was not greener on the other side. I have found that in the last year, that folks who have left the field, some of them are coming back. So they miss the kids or they really miss teaching. If you're a teacher at heart, you know what I'm talking about. So I would say that has been my experience in recruiting is been friends, family, word of mouth, definitely Indeed. Facebook also was great as well. And in the mom groups is another place where you could find folks that wanted to teach or wanted to work with children, especially if you were hiring for mother's hours. Lots of ladies or gentlemen were applying for those jobs. So social media is a good place to place an ad, but you got to be strategic. Like you can't just put one on your Facebook page of your school and expect droves of people are going to apply. So go into the groups, go into your local city group, place to put an ad. We have here in Warwick, we have like Making Warwick Positive community page. We have a few of those types of pages here. I'm sure you do in your city and town as well. So that might be a good place. The mom group pages, definitely good. Certainly you can put one on your Facebook page, your Instagram page, certainly on your website, front and center, first landing page. I would put something really big there. So that would be my advice on recruiting. In terms of training, I've messed up here too. I made all the mistakes. After 25 years, you're bound to make a few. So training we used to do where I would interview someone and then I would hire them and then I would send them off to their director to be trained there, which worked okay. But I found that each of the directors trained in different ways. And I know somebody's screaming from the back, systems. I have systems. I had checklists. Some people are just better trainers than others. And so what we did very recently is one of our locations, our smaller location, we have turned into a training facility. So now I still interview, I still hire, but now I'm onboarding folks at our training facility and they will work there until I'm ready to let them move on to another location. Or if they are extraordinary, then I might keep them at the training center and work in the classrooms there. So the training center does have 4 classrooms. And so we do training in the office, then we do training on the floor, then we do training in the office, and we do training on the floor. We do training with colleagues. We do trainings with the admins. So they get cross-trained through multiple ways. And then once they have, as they say, passed the mustard, then I can send them out to one of our other locations or have them stay on as a trainer. Now, one of the cool things about this is it also gives you opportunities to grow some of your folks and then give them opportunities to be a trainer, be an assistant director, to, give them some skin in the game, and you'll see that your team will definitely rise to the challenge. So that's how we do training now, but we didn't always do it that way. But so far I have found that has been the best way to onboard staff, and also in a group too. So if you're doing a bulk hire, so an example might be summer camp, when you might be hiring 6 or 7 folks to come on board, and maybe they're all starting around the same week or two, I would onboard all those people together. And there's a couple things that happen there. Sometimes one will ask a question that another one doesn't have. And they're like, oh, that's a great question. I didn't think of that. The other thing is they immediately come together and have camaraderie, which is nice because if you're just training like the one sole person and then you send them off into the trenches with the rest of your team, they might not, it's a little hard to start a new job, especially when you go into a place where everybody's worked together for a really long time. And so I found that camaraderie of 5 or 6 new folks going into the same center at once, they don't feel so alone. So that strategy also has worked pretty good. As far as retaining qualified staff members in a competitive market, one, you have to pay a competitive salary, but I don't pay the most, but I certainly don't pay the least. Actually, I might be at the upper end, to tell you the truth. But I think, trying to be creative with your benefit package, because we only have so much money. I do serve low to middle income families, so we're definitely not the highest tuition on the block. We could be, I don't want to say we're the lowest price, but we're probably close. So we're a 4-star program. We charge our families less than some of the centers near our program. We pay our teachers more than some of the folks in our program. And I think good teachers want to work in good quality programs. I know that. So it isn't just the money, because you could pay somebody $1 or $2 more. And I have had some centers try to pillage some of my staff and say, hey, I'll pay you this if you jump ship. But I think having a good work culture makes a big difference in people staying with you and, just making them feel valued and appreciated. And we talk about that so much on the show. So there's like 1,000 episodes on that category in that topic because it's important. So that is how I am able to retain my staff, is treat them like humans, try to be flexible when you can, try to be empathetic when you can, and have a fun place. I mean, nobody wants to work in a place that's not fun, that's toxic. Have a fun place to work, It's a place for kids. I mean, if it isn't fun, you're in the wrong business. So, and those teachers who really, really love teaching, giving them autonomy, letting them create some pieces of the curriculum, let them come up with programs. There's so many ways to get people really plugged in to what you're doing. Even being part of strategic planning meetings, having them help guide where you're going with your business over the next 5 or 6 years, So I would say those are the ways that you can recruit, ways that you can train and retain. Another question was, how do you foster a culture of continuous learning and professional development among your team? Well, I think people like to do things in groups and peers. So one way would be making sure that you have given access to all of the opportunities to your staff that are out there, and they don't have to come from you directly. Almost every state has the TEACH program where you can get scholarships for folks to go back to school, or you can help support somebody who's entry level who wants to get a CDA. You can help by bringing in professionals to do trainings at your program and maybe reach outside of your zip code. I know when I go to conferences in my state, it tends to be the same trainers all of the time, and that can get a bit mundane, especially if you've been in the field a really long time. You don't want to, see the same person doing the same Why Toddlers Bite workshop. So I think talking to them, say, where do you want to be in 6 months or a year? Somebody may say, I don't want to be in this field for the next 5 years. I plan on opening a XYZ thing, or I'm moving out of the state, or I'm going to get married and me and my husband decided I'm not going to work, or me and my wife decided I'm not going to work, right? So I think understanding where your staff are and then do it as a team, because I think when we talk about team, we don't always mean team. And so when I talk about team, I really mean team. So when one girl was like, oh, I want to do my CDA, I was like, hey, anybody else want to do that? And they're like, well, tell me more about it. And then a second one and a third one. We have 5 people now working on getting their CDA. So that's how you really foster it. And then also leading by example. I literally just graduated a year and a half ago, and, running three childcare centers, being a wife, being a mom. Also, I have a small business coaching business too that I did on the side, not to mention podcasting, being an author, doing a lot of different things. I still went to school, and I would take 1 or 2 courses a semester, and I've been in school forever. I think I've been in school for 23 years, and that's okay. I would just, take a course or 2 every semester, and I just kept going along until I earned my bachelor's in early childhood education, administration, and leadership. And now I'm thinking about possibly going back and getting my master's. And I know that there are lots of folks out there who, have degrees much, much higher than I do. I feel, though, with the number of courses and books and practical applications that I have done in my 23 years, I assure you, I have got that knowledge. And I even took my praxis way before I graduated, and I passed with flying colors, just because this is what I live and breathe. So, I walk the walk and I talk the talk, and that is a great way to foster a culture of continuous learning and professional development for your team. So those are 2 questions that we got up on our Facebook group. So, send us a question. We would love to answer it for you, and also get your thoughts about what you think about what I said. share what ways you recruit or train. We'd love to hear from you. So let's continue that conversation because I really want us to be a community where we all support each other. With that being said, let's see, before we tune out, I'd like to share a little bit more with you. So I don't know if you know, but YouTube just opened up a podcast channel. So now you can listen to the Childcare Directors Chair right on YouTube if you choose to do so, or you don't have access to your phone or you just, I know when I fold laundry, I listen to music and I usually pump it through YouTube. I'm not sure why, but I do love YouTube. It's kind of like my TV channel. Also, we have, if you don't know already, we have a few training videos up there, and we're going to create some more for you very, very soon. But if you haven't checked out those videos, go ahead and check it out. So that's it for today. I'd like to say, if you do hop on, there's one thing I do have an ask. Ask today is if you could please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to our channel on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Hit those notification buttons so that way when we have a new episode that comes out, you'll be notified. Same thing if you hop on our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. It costs you nothing. It's a great way to support another early childhood educator. And hopefully our show helps you as well. And thank you so much for tuning in. As always, it is the little details and the big, but the little details that make a big impact on the success of your childcare business. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, have a great day.
Well, all the cute little kiddos have been picked up and it's time to go home. And that'll do it for another episode of the Childcare Directors Chair. Please leave a review so Erica knows the information is helping you to manage and improve your childcare centers. Remember to subscribe to get the latest episode from Erica's Childcare Directors Chair.